From news and views, issues and opportunities, we'll have in-depth conversations with decision makers to find out what they know and what they think. I'm Rico Hizon, inviting you to join the exchange because your business is our business. As more people get vaccinated and borders slowly reopen, more Filipinos are willing to spend. Many are looking forward to get a job and a steady paycheck in the next few months.
Nagiging regular na po yung pasok namin.
Medyo maganda-ganda na ngayon.
Are we finally seeing the signs of recovery? How the retail market continues to adapt as it springs back to life, and how the tourism sector is preparing for a comeback, keeping the Filipino warmth and hospitality in the new normal in our sea, sweet vision. Our kababayans are spotting some signs of recovery after more than a year in crisis. They're feeling more confident about where the economy is headed. Let's now have an exchange with Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Deputy Governor Francisco Daquila Jr. Sir Francis, thank you so much for joining us. Why is the Bangko Sentral survey showing that consumer confidence slightly improved? What does this mean?
Okay. That's important because it shows greater consumer confidence. And as we know, consumer confidence translates to more spending, and personal consumption expenditures actually constitute almost 3/4 of our gross domestic product. So more confidence translates to better economic performance.
But Sir Francis, you know, a lot of our kababayans are still jobless. Millions of them. So what do they feel good about buying in malls and eating out in restaurants? I'm sure they don't have more money in their pockets.
Just to put this in context, the latest survey results of our CES shows an index of minus 30.9 for the current quarter. It's an improvement. The lowest level that we saw was in the third quarter of last year at minus 54.5. But the fact that it's a negative value means that the number of pessimists outnumber the optimists by more than 30%.
Right. Yes. Still a lot of pessimists outnumbering the number of optimists, those who are more positive about the economy. Sir Francis, we conducted an unofficial online poll and asked our viewers and netizens if they are more positive about our economy now. And out of over the 2,000 respondents, 34% say they are confident to spend, while 66% are still cautious. And we also talked to some people on the ground. Let's listen now to one of them, Aladdin Apolonista, and what he had to say about budgeting for their daily needs.
Medyo mas mahirap ang ngayon, ang pamamalengke natin ngayon. Medyo kumonti ang value nung yung 1,000, konti na lang nabibili ko. Dati nakakabili pa ako ng extrang gatas.
He could buy an extra can of milk or a bottle of milk with this 1,000 pesos. Now he can't. Is this because of rising inflation?
Consumers are thinking about how the economy may look like 12 months from now. The fact that there's an improvement is an indication of how they think the length of the pandemic impact on the economy would be.
Yes.
So what's important is for there really to be a control of the spread of the virus, because the survey results are also indicating a lot of possible pent-up demand.
Yes. And is this pent-up demand going to come forward with the Christmas season fast approaching? Will it be better times during the holiday season, which is like 5 months from now? Sir Francis?
It can be sooner because the next quarter results are already showing positive numbers. But the key is for these expectations to be validated by the people's ability to get out and to spend.
And Sir Francis, no, I read this very sad and disappointing report about the country's ranking last in the Global Finance's World's Safest Countries, this year. And this is the second time it has happened during the Duterte administration. What does the Bangko Sentral have to say to this?
This has to be counterbalanced because those are all perceptions. Now, what I'll just cite are the reasons cited by the respondents, because we had about 5,700 respondents in the survey. Why there was an improvement in the sentiment of consumers. Out of the 5,700, the highest cited reason is the greater availability of jobs, with 289 respondents saying so. The next second most important reason cited is additional income. And the third most important is the effectivity of government policies and programs. Specifically, the Ayuda program was cited.
Well, everyone is hoping for improved consumer confidence in the coming months, in the lead up to the holiday season. Thank you so much for this consumer exchange, BSP Deputy Governor Francisco Daquila Jr. And now here's a rundown of the week's top business stories. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello proposes doing away with professional licensure examinations, but the Philippine Nurses Association and Supreme Court Chief Justice Alex Hesmundo dismissed this idea. The latest government census reveals the country's population has ballooned to over 109 million. Roughly 1.5 million Filipinos were born annually in the last 5 years. And Microsoft is urging Windows users to immediately install an update due to a serious vulnerability that can give hackers access to your computer through a printer. And straight ahead on the exchange, where your business is our business, how the world-famous Boracay is preparing to welcome more people longing for a beach break. And this global furniture brand responds to the overwhelming number of Pinoys wanting to join its home makeover club. Details next, right here on CNN Philippines. News you can use, news you can trust.
Lahat ng ibang mga nakakapagbukas na ng mga negosyo.
Karamihan na po ng mga company nagbubukas na po. Unlike the last year, talagang wala talagang mga trabaho. No?
Siguro, epekto na rin ng bakuna to. Kasi nung dumadami yung bakuna, marami nang nagbukas na tindahan.
Para makabangon, di kailangan magkatrabaho din ng mga tao lahat.
Glad you're staying with us right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Tourism frontliners in Boracay begin getting their COVID-19 doses. Well, the goal is to vaccinate at least 500 people per day to cover all 17,000 tourism workers there. Secretary Berna Romulo Puyat said vaccines are the key to build travel bubbles. Over in Tagaytay, it is business as usual while authorities monitor Taal volcano under Alert Level 3. The city's Tourism Council says guests are regularly updated and measures are in place to keep them safe. The Trade Department wants to allow more customers in restaurants with fully vaccinated staff Currently, restaurants in Metro Manila operate at 40% capacity indoors and 50% for al fresco dining. We are learning how to live with the coronavirus while trying to beat it. Well, the central bank says more Filipinos are willing to spend as the economy further reopens. But is this for real? Let's now have an exchange with Paul Santos of the Philippine Retailers Association. Paul, great to have you with us. Do you agree with the Bangko Sentral survey that consumer confidence has slightly improved?
Yes, Rico, I agree with the results of that survey. If you visit any shopping mall in Metro Manila on any given day, you would see a more number of people paying a visit than, say, this time last year. You're seeing more people who are confident enough to go out to a shopping center and go shop.
So why are they more confident to go back into the malls, eat in restaurants? Is it because they've already been vaccinated? Or do they feel more confident that the government is doing something about its health protocols?
I think a lot of it has to do with the availability of vaccines to at least to some segments of the population. This time last year, it looked like as if there was nothing we could do to prevent catching COVID-19 apart from wearing face masks, keeping our distance, and later having access to adequate ventilation. But as as time has progressed, and especially when government started to relax mobility restrictions, plus people getting vaccinated, I think that's led to a surge, pardon the term, but that's led to an increase in the number of people confident enough to go out to shop, apart from buying your daily necessities.
But the confidence is still not really there, even though we get vaccinated. Been vaccinated. You've been vaccinated, Paul, but you're still wearing a face mask in the office. I mean, we really have to be able to attain herd immunity to be able to take off those face shields and those face masks. So, Paul, let's listen now to Jerry. If their budget can still buy the same amount of goods prior to this pandemic.
Mas maliit ang mga pagka nag-grocery ka ngayon, yung 3,000 mo, parang isang eco bag lang. Dati, medyo mabigat. Ngayon, medyo isang kamay mo lang, kayang-kaya mo eh. Medyo hirap tayo ngayon.
So, Paul, you heard Jerry there, a consumer, whether it be groceries, basic food items, clothing, essential items, appliances. Have prices gone up during this pandemic?
Well, most of the supply issues have been would have been worked out in the past couple of months, at least in 2021. Unlike the supply situation we had last year, and especially during the very early weeks of the lockdown, where you had goods being stuck at LGU borders because of quarantine and movement restrictions. Now, we've had an uptick in prices, but as observed by the NEDA itself, the inflation in the Philippines didn't go up as much as expected. They did go up, but not as high as people would have thought. But again, I think the issues here now involve the scarcity again of transportation, maybe. Despite the loosening of movement restrictions, it may not be possible for manufacturers and distributors of goods to be able to transport goods from one point to the other as much as they used to, because there may be a lack of vehicles.
Yeah, the problem also, Paul, is that
drivers aren't reporting for work.
The prices have gone up because, of course, we're also seeing oil prices, which is a benchmark for inflation, also rising, from almost zero to now about $70 per barrel. And of course, a lot of our kababayans have also lost their jobs. And those who have retained their jobs are not even getting a salary increase. Some of their salaries have even been reduced to be able to stay in their respective jobs.
That's right. What's happened is that in order to keep people on the payroll and instead of laying them off, many businesses have instituted part-time work where instead of working a full 40 hours a week or a full 48 hours a week, it's been halved just to keep people on the payroll and just to keep them getting paid. The option being that you would lay off people and worsen the situation. And many Philippine businesses, large and small, have taken that hint. And to keep people being paid, to keep them working, yes, people have been put on on maybe a 20-hour work week or 25-hour
Yes.
work week, just to keep them getting paid.
That's right. And, whenever I go to malls, whenever I go to a lot of shopping centers, Paul, I've seen a lot of retailers closing down. There are a lot of empty store spaces
Right.
at the moment. And we
Right.
now are approaching the second half of the year. And of course, we all want to have a merrier Christmas compared to 2020 and a better new year in 2022. How are you and your fellow retailers trying to bring back consumers' confidence and also helping your fellow struggling retailers?
Right. Well, for many retailers, the first object of business is, apart from ensuring the health and safety of staff and of customers, the next order of business is to rekindle interest in buying. People have been hesitant prior to this year. Maybe people have been very hesitant to go shopping. And one of the tools that retailers use to lure people back to shop is to launch a lot of sales promotions to bring people back to the store and at the same time generate cash flow for their own businesses.
And these sales have definitely improved consumer confidence over the last few months. Thank you so much for this exchange, Paul Santos, Chairman of the Philippine Retailers Association. IKEA Philippines is extending its free membership signups until July 11th. Its website crashed due to a surge of visitors signing up for the loyalty club. The Swedish furniture retailer aims to have 100,000 members and raffle off homemaker packages. IKEA Philippines is set to open later this year. And straight ahead on the exchange, where your business is our business, we envision the hospitality industry in the new normal with one of the biggest hotel operators in the country. And the BTS craze knows no limits. Fans are still raving about the K-pop meal, including this Filipino billionaire. I wish I could dance like him. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines. News you can use. News you can trust. I'm indeed excited that you're staying with us right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. The prolonged pandemic has buried the country deeper into debt. It ballooned to a record 11 trillion pesos in May, and that is equivalent to 100,000 pesos per Filipino. An economist says borrowing money is not all bad, especially during a crisis, but it becomes a problem if we fail to pay them off.
So natin umutang ulit sa global market, hindi na masyado pabor.
Despite this, the Bangko Sentral says our kababayans are slowly seeing some signs of recovery. We asked netizens if they agree that things have slightly gotten better. Ian Valenzuela said on Facebook, counting how many people are buying appliances and seeing the housing and auto sector picking up pace, I agree. Monica de la Cruz Balba thinks otherwise. She said, napakamahal ng bilihin. Wala din kasiguruguhan sa trabaho sa susunod na taon. Rosabella Guarino said on Instagram, we cannot recover overnight because of the pandemic. We have no source of income and not economically stable. And Rosario Maria Santos only wishes for the best. She said, I hope for the best for this country and Filipinos at home and the world over. Thank you. Thank you for joining the discussion on The Exchange on our social media pages. tourism is one of the hardest hit by this pandemic. Now that domestic borders are cautiously reopening, the industry is preparing for a safe comeback. Let's now have an exchange with Peggy Angeles of SM Hotel and Conventions. Peggy, great to have you with us. With the continued changes in quarantine classifications in the country, it's confusing me and a lot of our kababayans and all of us want to go on holiday very soon. How are hotels like yours coping amid all of these changes?
Well, Rico, the thing is, one has to be up to date with everything that is being released either by the DOH, IATF, or the Department of Tourism. So we need to keep ourselves up to date all the time so that we will be adaptable and flexible. Because there are times when, they say you can now travel interzonal without having to take these RT-PCR, but then one party says, no, you have to, right? So hotels need to be very flexible and will have to come up with ways and means to be able to adopt immediately.
Hotels survive because of occupancy. Has this somehow improved with the country's vaccination program? Are guests more willing to stay in hotels now?
Yes, Rico. Actually, with the increase in the percentage of those that have been vaccinated, there is greater confidence in traveling out to be able to go for vacation, right? So the demand is actually there. It's just that, particularly for the open air spaces like our property in Pico, where you have the beach, the sun, and everything else, the demand, shut up right away as soon as there was a relaxation of some rules, and at the same time with the increase in vaccination. Even Taal showed, our Taal Vista property showed some signs of good recovery, except of course there are some threats right now, although Tagaytay is not really part of the 7-kilometer sort of radius of endangered zone. No? So Tagaytay is still open for tourism. I believe that with the increase in number of those that have been vaccinated, there will be more and more travels out, not just in Luzon, but even in Visayas and even in Mindanao.
The big issue right now is that if you can cross borders with just your vaccination card, or do you need a vaccination card together with your RT-PCR results? I mean, has this had an impact on your reservations with the IATF, the DOT, and the national government having all sorts of voices in terms of relaxed guidelines?
Well, see, what happened was, I think there was about 2 days of gap when the first announcement said that those that have been fully vaccinated, you can now travel interzonal and you don't have to go for RT-PCR, right? So, but before a hotel could actually implement that, we have to wait for the IRR, right? But then 2 days after, there was a retraction from, I believe, the DOH saying, no, you still need to have your RT-PCR and the LGUs will prevail, whatever their decisions are. So whilst there are reservations that have been made, of course, there were some cancellations, but I think there are more coming in rather than cancellation.
Peggy, your portfolio just doesn't cover hotels, but also conventions. And of course, events, facilities, conferences, parties, and weddings have been key business drivers of your business as well. How are you adopting your facilities during these challenging times?
Okay, so particularly for the convention centers, the demand has slowly come back for more hybrid meetings. I mean, there's still not much of the big conventions or big exhibitions. But what we have done is obviously repurpose some of them so that we could cater to, say, ghost kitchens or for companies like ad agencies to do commercials using them. And organizers are already asking, and this is probably towards the end of this year and on to 2022.
Well, the future looks bright. Hoping for the best. Thank you so much for this exchange. Peggy Angeles, the Executive Vice President of SM Hotels and Conventions. Before we go, today is Army Day, a special day for BTS fans. Well, it looks like they've found a new member. Here's business tycoon Andrew Tan dancing to the tune of Dynamite after a BTS meal. Well, Tan is chairman of Alliance Global, which partly owns McDonald's Philippines. He has all the reasons to celebrate following the success of the K-pop collaboration. Well, the country is home to one of the biggest BTS fan bases in the world. Oh, Andrew Tan is a good dancer. And we leave you now with these guiding words from Walmart CEO Doug McMillon. The biggest lesson this pandemic has taught is the need for cooperation and partnership, the need for community. Though we're working further apart, we've never felt closer. And this is The Exchange. We make sense of the facts and the figures and the ups and downs of the business cycle because your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Thanks for watching CNN Philippines. News you can use. News you can trust.